Serious, what is a sign of depression that most people don't notice until it's too late? Memory loss. Nothing serious, but if you start to really not be able to tell days apart and life is blurring, especially moments that should been memorable, might be depressed. My mom asks me if I remember things from when I was a teenager and I genuinely don't. She gets upset that I don't care about this person she mentioned, but I really don't remember them. Feeling as though you're invisible, that you're on the outside looking in at life, but not part of it. Feeling numb, not feeling sadness, joy when you should feel joy. You just feel like an empty, tired vessel devoid of purpose. Lack of interest in things you used to enjoy. A complete turnaround in attitude. One day your friend is just perpetually down in the dumps. They go out less, eat worse, and have a hard time socializing. The one day, they do a complete 180. They're laughing, smiling, being incredibly generous with things like gift givings, and telling people how much they mean to them. Then the next day you find them dead from suicide. That turnaround was them making peace they were going to kill themselves. With regard to the until it's too late, I'd say social withdrawal. I had tons of friends in college and then experienced a pretty bad depressive episode that lasted a while. My friends kept inviting me places or trying to contact me, and I'd turn them down or ignore their messages. I was just so tired all the time. Eventually the invites dwindled and the messages stopped coming in. Understandably so. Once I found myself on the other side of things and in a much better place. There was only a small handful of people left in my life outside of my family members. I've never really recovered my social circle. I've tried reaching out to people and apologizing for my behavior, and they say they understand and that it's okay, but things are never the same. It's really hard to get friendships back after letting them go. Not cleaning or looking after yourself, joking or talking about suicide often, self-depreciating humor, becoming withdrawn, self-isolation, erratic or irrational behavior. As someone who's been fighting a losing battle with depression for years, I can confidently say it's often like you're a refine ghost that no one listens to, especially those closest to you. When doing anything feels like multitasking because you're also having to breathe while doing it. I've cried because I couldn't watch TV, because not only did I not care at all about anything, it also was exhausting and felt like a waste of my energy and time to have to look at the screen and pay attention. I've known 3 people now who had reputations for always appearing happy, who were always clowning around and making others laugh, but yet attempted suicide. All 3 were obviously serious attempts, and 2 of them succeeded. So it seems to me that appearing almost excessively happy all the time is something that can be easily overlooked as possibly a bad sign. I no longer have any close friends because I just don't really speak to anyone anymore. I'm at the point where I've isolated myself to the point that even if I opened up, there would be nobody there to hear. Nobody talks about the aspect of hiding away from everyone. I go to college for 3 days and am super social and bubbly. The days I'm alone are so depressing and crushing that I feel like there's a lead plate in my chest, poisoning me. I try to reach out, but I can barely hold a conversation. Mental health services are okay, but at this point all I do is work on my bed sores. I have no energy, and the days I do nobody wants to hang out anyway. It's getting worse and worse, but it's okay. I've fallen deeper than this before and come back. It's just something that happens. Not being able to muster the desire to wash your hair, letting rubbish build up, cutting off contact, losing interest in things you really used to enjoy, staring blankly at the wall wondering why you exist, immersing yourself in fantasies to escape reality, zoning out completely when spoken to, having no feeling when having conversations with others, horrible sleeping habits, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, drinking more, abusing medications. It can get to those dark places fast, and it's such a struggle to climb out from. Most of what I've written I've experienced in my depressive episodes. Keep talking though, keep asking and trying to understand it. I know this from experience. You accept to live in filth. Your mind has convinced you it is easier to live in and smell the filth rather than to clean it up. You know you should clean, but you don't. You believe it is easier to live in it because it is easier to do that than to look at it and clean it and fix it. That is the biggest thing that drives you to the end. You know you live in it. You smell it every day you wake up and walk back through the door. But depression has beaten you to such the point that you feel life is easier just living in it. That's where it all starts. From there your energy gets screwed up. You get sick. Your mind starts down this very dark path until, well, the person decided it's easier not to exist. Starting to have these invasive thoughts surrounding death and how life is so effing meaningless. Not like I'm suicidal or anything, but after a while it starts becoming stifling. I figured it was maybe because of my typical loneliness and lack of pleasant and various activities besides drawing when I could get my mind out of it. So basically my mind would start overthinking. Strangely enough, I would be that one guy who would say he's just fine and wouldn't even consider himself as depressed a few months ago, but then it started happening till I realized how it was downing my mood. I also started being more and more tired, like a part of me was dying. Nobody would notice it because I was covering the whole thing with caffeine, and I'm not being very expressive regarding this type of issues usually. People don't realize that very depressed people can hide it. They can be making plans but in their head they've decided on a different plan. It's not just one event that drives them to the edge of suicide. They may start pulling away, let their hygiene slip, sleep more/less, lose interest in hobbies and outings, lose appetite. They may cut contact slowly. When I lost my daughter last year I knew she was getting worse. She was at her father's, but I could see the signs. She wasn't leaving her room much, not answering calls/texts, not eating much, not showering every day. There was no structure to her day. Normally, we were very close, but she started pulling away from me the last couple months. A while after her funeral, I checked out her Discord. Her messages were all normal. She didn't say one word that would make anyone suspect something. In the past, when she's felt suicidal she would reach out. She'd let me, her friends, or her brother know. But she didn't want to be helped the last time. She had her mind made up. So, my advice would be watching for socializing decreasing, not practicing normal levels of activity, hygiene, appetite. They may be angry when you suggest help. Don't give up. I'll always wish I had done more. Risking their anger may be necessary. I had told my ex we needed to take her to her psychiatrist or the hospital. He said I was evil and cruel. We lost her the next night. Trust your gut. Most of all, let them know you love them and need them. Suicide just spreads the pain around to the people who loves them most. In my experience, fear of everyday things is a big sign of depression or anxiety. Jealousy and or disliking people you don't know very well. Similarly, wanting to be social, but justifying not being social with the people around you because they are flawed. Fear of trying new things because you expect to fail. Going with the flow instead of asserting yourself, your needs, your wants. It can also be the opposite. You can only allow things to go your way and you have to berate others into doing it. People having a more positive image of you than you have of yourself. Finally, if you tell someone with authority in your life, parents, family, teachers, etc., that you're depressed, and they don't seem to do anything to help you, and you take this to be okay, because no one should pay attention to you, that is a sign that you need to be more assertive. Treating your body like absolute garbage. I'm not just talking about eating junk food and not working out, but pushing your body to its absolute limit in a bad way, in a way that leaves you injured, but you just don't care enough to take proper care of yourself. A symptom I don't see mentioned a lot, but one I've had to deal with personally, physical pain. It was like I'd suddenly developed full body arthritis. My mind felt okay, but my body was in a painful revolt. I didn't know what was happening the first time, and ended up under the care of a rheumatologist. I was on a lot of anti-inflammatories that did nothing to help. It wasn't until the pain went away, but my mind failed, and I became suicidal did I recognize the pain for what it was. I recently experienced another episode of this pain. After giving birth to my second child, tried the anti-inflammatory meds again, and when they didn't help, I remembered my first experience. Thankfully my doctor listened to me and promptly put me on an antidepressant. My physical symptoms disappeared in a week, and now I can focus on working on my mental health without being overwhelmed by pain.